Welcome back to English Flow Podcast, where we transform English learning from a chore into a natural, enjoyable part of your daily routine. I'm absolutely excited to be here with you today because we're going to explore one of the most transformative approaches to language learning, making English an integral part of your life rather than something separate that you study. If you've been struggling to find time for English practice, or if you feel like your progress has plateaued despite hours of traditional study, then this episode is going to change everything for you. The truth is, the most successful language learners aren't necessarily the ones who study the hardest. They're the ones who successfully integrate the language into their lifestyle so seamlessly that learning happens naturally, almost without effort. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do this, step by step, so that English becomes as natural to you as breathing. Let me start by sharing a fundamental truth that changed my entire perspective on language learning. You don't need more study time, you need more exposure time. There's a massive difference between these two concepts. Study time is when you sit down with a textbook or grammar app and consciously work on learning. Exposure time is when you're simply living your life, but doing it in English. The magic happens when you maximize your exposure time because this is when your brain absorbs language naturally, the way children learn their first language. Think about it. Children don't study grammar rules for hours each day, yet they become fluent. They're simply surrounded by the language constantly, hearing it, using it, playing with it, living it. We want to recreate this immersive environment for you, even if you don't live in an English-speaking country. The first and most impactful change you can make right now, today, is to transform your digital environment into an English-speaking world. Your phone is probably the device you interact with most frequently throughout the day, checking it dozens or even hundreds of times. Imagine if every single one of those interactions was a mini English lesson. Change your phone's language settings to English right now. Yes, it might feel uncomfortable for the first few days, but this discomfort is where growth happens. Suddenly, every notification, every menu, every app becomes an opportunity to see and process English. You'll learn practical, everyday vocabulary that you actually use, like settings, notifications, battery, storage, and countless other terms that rarely appear in textbooks but are essential for modern life. This single change creates hundreds of micro-exposures to English every single day without requiring any extra time or effort from you. But let's not stop at your phone. Your computer, your tablet, your smart TV, your gaming console, every digital device you own should be set to English. Change your social media platforms to English as well. When you scroll through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok, all the interface language, buttons, and prompts will be in English. This constant exposure trains your brain to think in English automatically because you're using the language for real purposes, not just studying it abstractly. You're navigating, deciding, interacting, all in English. This is what we call functional language use, and it's incredibly powerful for developing genuine fluency. The best part is that once you make these changes, they require zero ongoing effort. You've created an English environment that works for you automatically, day after day. Now let's talk about entertainment, which is probably one of the most enjoyable ways to make English part of your life. Instead of treating English learning as work, we're going to make it your primary source of fun and relaxation. Think about how much time you spend watching videos, movies, or series each week. For most people, it's several hours. What if all of that time was also contributing to your English development? Stop watching content in your native language and switch exclusively to English content. I can hear some of you protesting right now, saying, "But I won't understand everything." And you're absolutely right, at least at first. But here's the secret. You don't need to understand 100% to benefit enormously. Even if you understand only 50 or 60%, you're still absorbing pronunciation, intonation, natural speech patterns, common expressions, and cultural context. Your brain is incredibly good at filling in gaps and learning from context. Start with content that has visual support, like action movies, cooking shows, travel vlogs, or sports commentary, where you can understand much of what's happening even if you miss some words. Use English subtitles, not subtitles in your native language. This is crucial. English subtitles help you connect the sounds you're hearing with the written words, reinforcing both your listening and reading skills simultaneously. Native language subtitles, on the other hand, encourage your brain to rely on translation, which is exactly what we're trying to avoid. As you watch more and more content in English, something remarkable happens. You start picking up phrases, expressions, and even accents. You begin to understand humor, sarcasm, and cultural references. The language stops feeling foreign and starts feeling familiar, like an old friend. Let me give you a strategy that supercharges your entertainment-based learning. Choose one series that you absolutely love and watch it multiple times. I know this sounds boring, but it's incredibly effective. The first time you watch, you're focused on the plot and probably missing lots of language details. The second time, you notice more of the dialogue. The third time, you start picking up on jokes, wordplay, and subtle expressions you missed before. By the fourth or fifth viewing, you'll find yourself anticipating lines and even saying them along with the characters. This repetition creates deep familiarity with natural English, and those phrases become part of your active vocabulary. Many of our most successful listeners have learned entire conversational patterns from watching their favorite shows repeatedly. Some even credit shows like Friends, The Office, or Breaking Bad for their conversational fluency. Music is another incredibly powerful tool for making English part of your daily life. Most people listen to music while commuting, exercising, cooking, or relaxing. If you're going to listen to music anyway, why not make it English music? But don't just listen passively. Engage with the lyrics. Look them up, read them while listening, and try to understand what the song is about. Sing along even if your pronunciation isn't perfect. Singing is actually one of the best ways to improve your pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation because music naturally teaches you the melody of the language. Create playlists of English songs you genuinely enjoy, not songs you think you should listen to for learning. If you love the music, you'll listen to it repeatedly, and that repetition is where the learning happens. Before you know it, you'll have internalized hundreds of English phrases, idioms, and expressions without ever feeling like you were studying. Let's discuss reading, which is often underutilized by language learners because they find traditional reading materials boring or too difficult. The key is to read things you would read anyway, just in English instead of your native language. Are you interested in fitness? Read fitness blogs and articles in English. Do you love cooking? Find recipe websites in English. Are you into technology, fashion, gaming, or personal development? There's an enormous amount of content available in English on every topic imaginable. Follow English-speaking influencers and thought leaders in your areas of interest. Subscribe to English newsletters about topics you care about. The crucial principle here is relevance. When you're reading about something that genuinely interests you, reading doesn't feel like a chore. You're motivated by curiosity about the content, and the language learning happens as a natural byproduct. Social media can be transformed from a time waster into a powerful learning tool. Instead of scrolling mindlessly through content in your native language, curate your feed to be primarily English content. Follow English-speaking creators, join English language groups and communities, participate in discussions in English. Comment on posts in English, even if your comments are simple at first. Share content in English. The beauty of social media is that it's interactive and immediate. You can practice writing English in short, low-pressure formats like comments and tweets. You get exposure to contemporary, casual English that's actually used by real people today, not the formal, outdated English often found in textbooks. You'll learn slang, abbreviations, internet culture, and current expressions that make you sound natural and contemporary. Now I want to introduce you to a concept that I call productive procrastination. We all procrastinate sometimes, scrolling through our phones or watching random videos when we should be doing something else. Instead of fighting this universal human tendency, let's harness it for English learning. When you find yourself procrastinating, make sure you're at least procrastinating in English. Watch English YouTube videos about random topics, browse English Reddit threads, read English Wikipedia articles about whatever interests you in that moment. This way, even your wasted time is contributing to your English development. You're still procrastinating, but you're also getting massive amounts of English exposure. Over a year, these hours add up to hundreds of hours of English input that you got essentially for free, without taking any time away from your other responsibilities. Let me share a powerful technique for integrating English into your professional life. If you work on a computer, try to do as much of your work in English as possible. Write your notes in English, even if they're just for you. Create your to-do lists in English. If you're searching for information online for work, search in English. You'll actually find that there's often more and better information available in English on most professional topics because English is the dominant language of international business, science, and technology. Write emails in English when appropriate, even if you need to use a grammar checker to help you at first. Keep a work journal in English where you reflect on your day, your challenges, and your accomplishments. This not only improves your English but also helps you develop professional vocabulary and the ability to discuss your work in English, which is an incredibly valuable skill in today's global economy. Your physical environment can also support your English learning. Label things in your home with English words. Put sticky notes on your refrigerator, your mirror, your desk, anywhere you look frequently. These labels serve as constant visual reminders and help you learn everyday vocabulary effortlessly. Create an English corner in your home where you keep English books, magazines, or where you listen to English podcasts. This physical space serves as a reminder of your commitment to English and creates a dedicated environment for engagement with the language. Some learners even put up posters with common English phrases, idioms, or quotes that inspire them. Every time you pass by, you're getting a little bit of English exposure. Podcasts are an absolute goldmine for English learners, and of course, I'm biased since you're listening to one right now. But seriously, podcasts are perfect for language learning because you can listen while doing almost anything else. Listen while you're commuting, exercising, cooking, cleaning, walking, or getting ready in the morning. You're not taking any extra time out of your day, yet you're getting high-quality English listening practice. The key is to find podcasts on topics that genuinely interest you. There are English podcasts about literally everything: true crime, history, science, comedy, business, health, storytelling, interviews with fascinating people. Start with podcasts for English learners if you need to, but as soon as possible, transition to podcasts made for native speakers about topics you love. This exposes you to authentic, natural English used at normal speed. Let's talk about speaking practice, which is often the most challenging aspect to integrate into daily life, especially if you don't have English-speaking friends or colleagues. But there are creative solutions. Talk to yourself in English throughout the day. Narrate what you're doing, describe what you see, express your thoughts and feelings out loud in English when you're alone. This might feel strange at first, but it's incredibly effective. You can also use language exchange apps to connect with English learners or native speakers who want to learn your language. Schedule regular video calls where you practice conversation. Join online English conversation clubs or communities where people meet virtually to chat in English. Some are free, and they provide structured opportunities to speak with real people. The internet has made it possible to practice speaking English from anywhere in the world, so take advantage of these resources. Another powerful strategy is to think in English. This is different from talking to yourself out loud. Throughout your day, try to conduct your internal monologue in English. When you're planning what to do next, do that planning in English. When you're having feelings about something, try to name those feelings in English. When you're problem solving, work through the problem in English. This takes practice, and at first, you'll keep slipping back into your native language, but that's completely normal. Every time you notice you've switched back to your native language, gently redirect your thoughts back to English. Over time, thinking in English will become more and more natural until eventually it becomes your default mode. This is one of the clearest signs of advancing fluency, and it's something you can practice every single day without any special materials or apps. Gaming is another avenue that many people overlook. If you enjoy video games, play them in English. Many games have extensive dialogue, storylines, and instructions that provide rich language input. Multiplayer games give you opportunities to communicate with other players in English through text or voice chat. The interactive nature of games means you're actively processing language to accomplish goals, solve puzzles, or collaborate with teammates. This kind of engaged, purposeful language use is incredibly valuable for learning. Plus, gaming vocabulary is widely used in internet culture, so learning it helps you participate in a huge global community of English speakers online. Your morning and evening routines are perfect opportunities to incorporate English. In the morning, instead of checking news in your native language, read English news sites or watch English news videos. Listen to an English podcast while having breakfast. In the evening, wind down by reading a few pages of an English book or watching an English YouTube video about something relaxing. These bookend practices ensure that you start and end your day with English, creating consistency and making the language a natural part of your daily rhythm. The psychological impact of this shouldn't be underestimated. When English is part of your first and last activities each day, your brain begins to treat it as an essential part of your life rather than an optional extra. Let me address a concern that many learners have. What if making English part of your life means sacrificing your native language and culture? This is a completely understandable worry, but I want to assure you that it's a false dichotomy. You're not replacing your native language or abandoning your culture. You're adding English as another dimension of your life. You're becoming multilingual and multicultural, which only enriches your experience of the world. You'll still speak your native language with family and friends. You'll still enjoy media and content in your native language. But you're creating space for English as well, and this additive approach is what leads to true bilingualism. Many people find that engaging deeply with another language actually gives them new perspectives on their own language and culture as well. It's important to set realistic expectations about this process. When you first start making these changes, it will feel effortful and maybe even frustrating. You'll miss some things because your English isn't perfect yet. You might need to look up words frequently. Things will take longer than they would in your native language. This is all completely normal and temporary. Push through this initial discomfort period, which usually lasts a few weeks to a couple of months. After that, things start feeling much more natural. Your comprehension improves dramatically. You need to look up fewer words. You start actually enjoying the content rather than struggling through it. This is when the magic really happens, when English stops being work and becomes simply another way you experience and engage with the world. Consistency is far more important than intensity when it comes to making English part of your life. You don't need to spend 8 hours a day immersed in English, although more exposure is generally better. What you need is daily contact with the language. Even if some days you only have 30 minutes of English exposure, that's fine as long as it happens every single day. This daily consistency builds momentum and keeps your brain engaged with English continuously. It's like maintaining physical fitness. Working out intensively once a week is less effective than moderate exercise every day. The same principle applies to language learning. Regular, consistent exposure beats sporadic intensive study sessions every time. As we conclude today's episode, I want you to understand that making English part of your life isn't about adding more to your to-do list or creating more obligations. It's about transforming activities you're already doing into opportunities for English development. You already use your phone, watch videos, listen to music, read articles, and interact on social media. You're simply going to do these things in English instead of your native language. This approach is sustainable because it doesn't require willpower or discipline in the traditional sense. Once you've set up your environment and established your new habits, English exposure happens automatically as you go about your normal life. This is how you achieve fluency without burnout, without stress, and actually while enjoying yourself. Start today by making 1 or 2 changes we discussed, perhaps changing your phone to English and finding an English podcast or YouTube channel you genuinely enjoy. Add more changes gradually over the coming weeks. Before you know it, English will feel like a natural, integrated part of who you are rather than something foreign you're trying to learn. Thank you so much for being part of the English Flow podcast community. Remember, fluency isn't built in dramatic study sessions. It's built in thousands of small moments of engagement with the language throughout your everyday life. I'll see you in the next episode, and until then, keep English flowing through every part of your day.